So Solar 3.0 next season. Some people are doubting that it's going to be good. I've got a build today for you that is going to show you that this will be usable next season, day 1 or in 4 months time, because I ain't got no class item seasonal mods on there, causing absolute carnage like so, popping champions and having insane survivability wherever you go on the fly. Stay tuned, I've got a build to show you. So I'm just going to give you a quick intro to the build, what it's based around. It's based around Loreley Splendor helm and pretty much basically around Sol Invictus. You can run Consecration if you want, that's the new melee, but I'll show you the full build at the end, but it's just based around Sol Invictus. Solar ability final blows, Hammer of Sol impacts and defeating Scorch targets create sunspots. Your abilities regenerate faster and your super drains more slowly while standing in a sunspot. Sunspots apply Scorch and deal damage to targets inside. Entering a sunspot applies restoration. So the applying the restoration part is pretty cool. Anyway, you just get like a ×1 version of it. It's not like as good as classy restoration, like a ×2, but it's still nice. It's like a little added bonus. But the sunspots, the main thing that we're going to concentrate is the applying Scorch. So whenever I kill an enemy that is scorched, it's going to create a sunspot, and then what's going to happen is that sunspot's going to stay in the area where you've killed the enemy, and that sunspot's just going to like continue to sort of burn and spread Scorch. And the way I've got my fragment set up, that Scorch is going to then spread and cause the massive ignition. So what I'm running is Ember of Char, Solar Ignition, Spread Scorch. I'm running Ember of Eruption, so my ignitions have an increased area of effect, and I'm also running Ember of Ashes, which makes the sunspot on whatever you're using apply more Scorch. So creating a sunspot is going to stay there, apply Scorch to anything that stood near it or inside that sunspot. You're going to apply more Scorch, it's going to cause an ignition, which is going to have an increased area of effect, and then the Ember of Char is going to make that ignitions that you create from the Scorch spread to even more targets. And on top of that, we've got weapons with enhanced incandescent, which massively help this build. Like, I'm not going to lie, the normal incandescent works, but nowhere near as good as enhanced incandescent. We've got quite a few weapons this season that you can roll enhanced incandescent, so I'd definitely craft it for this build. And the reason why I'd definitely say craft it for this build, because it's going to be good next season and any seasons after, because we've actually got no like seasonal class item mods on here. We aren't running Revitalizing, Blast, Solar Fulmination or Classy Restoration. So there's no seasonal mods on here whatsoever. Obviously you'd have to run some, if you're doing an in-game activity, you're going to have to probably run some anti-barrier, but predominantly there's no sort of seasonal artifact mods on here. And then the other little added bonus that we're going to get is from Loreley Splendor. So what that does is when you are wounded with full class ability energy, or when you put your barricade down, you create a sunspot at your location that has improved restoration effects. That gives you a ×2, which is pretty much classy restoration, so you don't actually need classy restoration when you've got Loreley's on. So altogether it's a solid build. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you some more clips of it all working together. I'm just going to quickly touch on Sol Invictus because it did get changed. It used to be you created sunspots on ability kills, so melee or grenade, but it actually works with incandescent, because it says defeating Scorch targets. So if you've got like an enhanced incandescent weapon, or even like an incandescent weapon, like I said, it does work with enhanced, it's going to leave these sunspots randomly, like so. You're going to see there, I've killed him, I didn't use my melee or grenade, I've killed him with my incandescent weapon. And that's just going to leave that sunspot. So the way I like to try and use this build particular with the sunspots is to kill something like one of the first of the group of enemies that spawn, and then that sunspot's going to just stay there, and anything around that area or anything that walks into it or spawns in the area is going to like spread that Scorch and cause the ignitions. So this is the type of thing you can do with it once it's all set up the way I've got it set up, where the fragments all the spread ignitions do more damage. I mean, look at that, it's crazy. Them sunspots just stay around everywhere, and you just cause so many random like explosions. Sometimes you're not even expecting it, and all of a sudden you've killed like 20 enemies. It's nuts, it's absolutely crazy. And then I was doing a 1590 lost sector, and look at this champ, he's dead. I'll slow it down just so you can see what happens. Again, it's just what I've said. I've killed an enemy on spawn, he's going to leave a sunspot, the enhanced incandescent applying Scorch, and he just dies, he just pops. He literally pops and he's dead. So that's the type of thing you can do. It's pretty devastating, and like I said, the build is going to be good for next season. Day 1, when we ain't got many artifact mods unlocked or something like that, or in 6 months time, because the only sort of seasonal mods that I'm running is just the stuff for the barriers, like, and you don't even need to run them if you're doing normal activities. I've got no artifact seasonal mods on there, so it's really strong. And I'll quickly touch on the super as well. It makes the super like even better because of all the sunspots that you're just leaving around everywhere. And like I said, the way I've got the fragments set up, it's just applying and spreading Scorch and doing even more ignitions, which then spread Scorch, so it's really good. And like I said, you randomly just get explosions like so when you're not expecting it. So yeah, it's really decent. This was again a 1590 lost sector. I'm just going to show you exactly, because I killed these 2 barrier champions. They were pretty much just Scorch and ignitions. So I think it's pretty impressive, if I'm honest, that there's no seasonal mods on there again. And I'll keep banging on about that, but so it's going to be a build that we can use like today, day 1 of next season, or in a year's time. It's going to stand the test of time, or be well, and hopefully they might even bring some back where we can even buff it out even more in future seasons, but it doesn't need it. Anyway, I'll leave these few more clips playing out. I've got one more little sort of section of clips to show you of the Loreleys. This is the Loreleys, this is a GM, look at this, bang, nice healing. So again, no seasonal mods, so there you go, that was a GM gameplay, keeping me alive, nice and healed. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you the full build. I've got some elemental well mods going on there to boost the build out even more. So this is now the full build. I hope you found the clips good. The aspects that I'm running are Consecration and Sol Invictus. The Sol Invictus is obviously the most important one. We've already talked about that, so I'm not going to sort of go over that. But Consecration or Roaring Flames, whichever one you want. I prefer Consecration because the melee, I either run Hammer Strike, or you can use the sort of the new one that where you slide along the floor and do your Hammer of Doom. You can use that one. I prefer this one because it causes more Scorch. Again, you can sort of run Hammer Strike or Throwing Hammer. I prefer, like I said, this one with the Hammer Strike because it just adds to the ignitions, because you'll see that you'll get loads more ignitions with it and explosions. The grenades, I always sort of jiggle between 2 of them. I either run Thermite Grenade if I'm killing little ads, like a group of little miner, Thrall or whatever, and if I want to get an instant sort of sunspot from Sol Invictus, I'll run a Fusion Grenade for an enemy that's either a bit more tankier, or you just want to get an instant sunspot, you can run Fusion Grenade. I always run Towering Barricade, and then the fragments we've already gone over: Ember of Char, Ember of Eruption, Ember of Ashes, and Ember of Solace, so we get that radiation. Radiant and Restoration effects last a bit longer for your Loreley Splendor Helm. What I'm running, as again on the class item, just to sort of go over, I'm not running any of these mods here, no Solar Fulmination, no Revitalizing Blast, but what I am running is Bountiful Wells Special Finisher. I'm also running Elemental Armaments, what creates an Elemental Well with weapon kills, which does work with incandescent, so if you get like the Scorch kills from the incandescent, that also creates Elemental Wells. I'm also running Font of Might to get 25% damage boost on my solar weapons, which works really nicely again with enhanced incandescent or incandescent. I'm also running Elemental Ordnance because you get plenty of grenade kills, you're going to spawn loads of Elemental Wells, and then Bountiful Wells just doubles up everything, like you're going to get 2 wells instead of 1 via your armaments and your ordnance. And then on my arms you can run something like Bolstered Detonation, so whenever you cause damage with your grenade, it's going to recharge your class ability even quicker to get your solar sort of solar restoration going, your ×2 from your Loreley when you need it. The last one is Explosive Wellmaker and Ashes to Ashes. Explosive Wellmaker is a no-brainer on this one because you create so many wells with Explosive Wellmaker and Bountiful Wells. It's absolutely crazy. There's explosions going on everywhere. And then ashes to assets gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. So that's my full build. I've already touched again on Loreley's. Everyone knows what that does, but it gives you crazy healing also. So you've got everything on this build, and like I said, get on this build for seasons to come. I hope it has been good for you, and I hope you have a great day. I'm looking forward to WARC 3.0.